Okay, so I'm just here to walk you through just like the initial setup with CTO630 or any of the CTO models. Right, so let's start by turning it on. Okay, we mainly advise to keep on using the cable that we supplied, like the original USB cable. Usually these like blue or black, but if you need to use a longer cable, sometimes they can have communication issues, but as long as it's like a USB 2 cable and you're plugging it straight into a USB 2 port on your PC or Mac, then it shouldn't be a problem. Right, so I'll just go over to the PC, so we've got it all connected. So one of the first things you want to check is in Device Manager. On Windows 10, easy way to sort of open this up is right-clicking Windows and then opening Device Manager on the list. You can see in the CTO here it's appearing as USB serial port and COM4. Just make a note of the COM4 just for when you're setting up with your software later. But yeah, so obviously when you first load it up, you might not it might not appear as ports because obviously you need to install the drivers. But if you run the executable file on the disk, then pretty much go through the install wizard, then it should appear as the USB serial port, and it shouldn't appear like with any error or anything. So once you've got that sorted, today we're just doing the walkthrough with SignCut just to get it set up. So here you've got open SignCut, and to change anything in the cutter settings, so if you just click cutter here and then go through the list, you might have a different list to us. It does vary with sort of different versions of SignCut sometimes, but at the moment we've just got this list of 3 using one of our codes that you can buy from us. Yeah, so select creation, and then out of the model we want the CTO630. So, and then, as we remembered, COM4 as the device, and then just need to change this to 38400 as the baud rate setting. Pretty much everything else you can keep as default. Okay, so once you've got that all set up and ready, you can send a test just to make sure it responds. We know how it works, but now you might want to go to the cutter and just get it set up with the vinyl. So for just demonstration purposes, we haven't got ours on the stand, but it's a bit easier if you want to load up your vinyl at the back, just so it makes it a bit nicer when it rolls through. Yeah, but yeah, feed it through, and as you can see, and let me just move this out of the way, you've got the 2 pinch rollers here. Obviously just sort of you can move these around as the CTO's got like a continuous feed roller. I think it's just in the middle, there's a join, but anyway sort of along these points, and then just get it up set up how you want. Lower the pinch rollers and it should feed through quite nicely like that. Okay. Right. The only other thing just before you start getting cutting would be to check the blade setup. Okay, so you can barely see our blade at the moment. It's about half the width of a credit card is what we usually mainly advise for just cutting like standard vinyl. And the way that you'd adjust this, so if you turn the bottom one, you can then like completely unscrew it. But when you sort of, after you've put the blade in or replacing the blade, obviously connect it back in, screw it up like this, and you can adjust with how far you want that. So once you've got the blade length right with how much you've got sticking out, so sort of roughly there, you can then secure it with this gold connection. Sometimes the blade holes look a bit different, but it's pretty much like a similar premise. So once you've got it away, you want it set up, pop it back in, secure there. And probably the best thing to do to start off with is just to do a small test, and it should cut like a very small square. You can probably barely see that, I'm afraid, but if I was to weed it out, you can see this cut through. Right. So, yeah, it looks okay. So, once you've got that how you want, and you've tried weeding out, and you're happy with it, just to talk you through, when you want to move the cartridge into like the correct starting point, if you just press online, and then use these directional arrows just to get it how you want it on the vinyl. So let's say we start it further down. There. Once you've got it set up how you like, you don't actually have to. It's not like some of the other cutters where you press origin. You don't. But if you press these crosshairs, it will zero these two numbers. So if you wanted to go back and find the original origin point, you can do that through there. Okay, so that's how we want it up. So if we go back to sign cut, over to the cut symbol, or the scissors, sorry, and then cut out, and it should be to send. Okay, so once it's cut out, roll it through. You can see, fortunately I went over my test square just a bit there, but if I get the tweezers, sorry, pick up there. I'm just doing this quickly by hand, so my weeding skills probably isn't that great. Okay, you can see, obviously, ignore my test square, I did that, but as you can see it's cut pretty nicely, sort of along there. And across. The only things that you might want to experiment with when you're weeding out and things like that, and if you find it a bit hard to weed, but you can see that it's cutting, but obviously you don't want it cutting all the way through. If you go into mode, and then hopefully you can see on there the force setting. Yeah. When you want to change this, you can just press mode, come up with force, and then the plus and minus symbols down at the bottom for that, and press force again, mode, and it will change to the speed, and then it shows the two scale options, but it's best to keep those as the default settings. Okay, so just go back to online. It'll need to be in the online mode when before you send any cuts to it, so just make sure it's displaying that. One common thing that you do get with the CTO is, say for example, if your cartridge starts all the way over to the left, it's actually touching this tiny sort of stop switch there. It tends to happen on the left hand side, but if it is indeed touching it, then what is likely to happen is you'll get these, not sure if you can quite see them, but you'll get like these small squares all across the display, and if you press anything, nothing will happen. But it's pretty simple to fix. You just turn it off and then gently slide it over with your hand, turn it back on, and then it'll display online. Yeah, but that pretty much concludes everything to sort of get the CTO up and running. Yeah.